Let me give you an example. Naomi Judd. She had a spark. This was a lady who was a single mother, raising 2 hungry children, well, actually 1 child and 1 unruly, rebellious teenager. And she found that singing with that teenager brought them together. She was working as a nurse, and she shared that with one of her patients. And that patient just so happened to have connections. She got Naomi an audition in Nashville. Well, Naomi didn't hesitate. She packed up the kids and off to Nashville they went. She says her knees were knocking as she walked down the halls of that record company. And she looked up at the portraits on the wall of the greats that had been before her, like Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, even Elvis Presley. And there she stood in a $20 dress from a flea market, holding a plastic guitar. But she didn't turn back. She went into that audition, and with her daughter, they sang 2 songs that she had written. It was like she was saying, this is who we are, and this is what we do. Now that's gumption. Debbie Fields had a spark, and hers was a little bit different. Every single person in her life told her it couldn't be done. Bad idea, they'd say, as they were stuffing cookies in their mouth. Shouldn't do it, waste of time, waste of time. Her friends, her family, her in-laws, even her husband said he didn't think it could be done. He just supported her because he wanted her to be happy. Now, keep in mind, this was a 20-year-old housewife who had no formal education. She was a C student, and it was 1977. It was only in 1974 that they passed the Equal Opportunities Act, allowing women to get loans in their own name. Well, at the same time, Gloria Steinem was out on the streets burning her bra, rallying against the housewife. And Debbie, she wanted to bake cookies. Well, she did. And the day that her first store opened, by noon, not a single soul had come in. So she took those cookies, chopped them up into samples, and went out on the street to entice people to come into the store. And that has been a cornerstone of her business ever since. And we all know where Debbie took that business. That's gumption. And Jane Goodall, she had an interesting spark. Like Debbie, she was a young woman who had no formal education. She was working as a secretary. And her spark came in the form of an invitation. That invitation came in the mail one day from a young childhood friend who was living in Kenya on a family farm. Well, Jane immediately went out, got a second job. She earned enough money for the fare, and in 1957 she quit those 2 jobs, got on a boat and sailed to the east coast of Africa. But she didn't stop there. She enjoyed spending time with those exotic animals. And she heard that Dr. Leakey, the famous anthropologist, had arrived in South Africa. So she didn't hesitate. She traveled directly to meet him, and she asked him for a job. Now again, keep in mind, this was an era when it was unheard of for a young single woman to travel out into the wilds of Africa on her own. And he asked her a lot of questions, and she answered every single one of them to his satisfaction. And he hired her on the spot. Now that's gumption. Obviously, gumption is rich with attitude, and it does take a few sparks to get it going. But truly, the question of the day is, what is it about gumption that makes it the secret to catching your dream? If you have a dream, something that you believe in so strongly, it's like this ball of energy inside you. It's the fuel for your passion. And just with one spark, it can ignite. And as heat rises, it lifts you up beyond your own expectations. But there's something very special about it, because it opens doors in ways that let our true self shine through. Those Nashville record producers, they saw something in Naomi. They saw a woman who believed so strongly in the power of music to bring people together in love and in hope. And they could buy her a new dress. They could buy her a new guitar, but they couldn't buy her kind of gumption. And Debbie, well, her banker, he had to weigh whether or not she could pay back that loan. But he recognized in her that she believed so strongly that she could bake love into those chocolate chip cookies. And he says, I didn't believe in her cookies. I believed in her. And Jane Goodall, when she met Dr. Leakey, I'm convinced that he saw in her the 7-year-old child that once was so fascinated by how a hen would lay its egg that she spent 4 hours in the chicken coop waiting to see it happen. He saw that kind of gumption. But Debbie and Jane and Naomi, they were all ordinary people with dreams, like you and me. I know what gumption is. I know how to get it. And I know that it's the secret to catching my dream. Yes, I've always been a dreamer. You could even ask my husband, he's here. But now, I'm a dream chaser. And what started for me 6 years ago on a bulletin board in a coffee shop has taken me on this incredible journey, because not only do I own one business, but I own 2, and I'm going to start my 3rd pretty soon here. And I have traveled to some pretty exciting places. I got to walk among the grizzlies of Alaska. I had one walk within 10 feet of me, which was probably one of the most exciting experiences of my life. And don't worry, I'm not going to break out into song. I'll leave the country music singing to the shower and those lone car rides. But certainly, it's so fun to dream. And I'm having a great time because I'm dream chasing. So I say, if you have a dream, don't set it aside. Dream your dreams, chase them, because I know that those people who chase dreams are the most likely to catch them.